Good day to our Vice Chancellor, represented here by the DVC academics, the Deputy Vice Chancellors, the Registrar, the Provost, the Deans of respective faculties, MDC and representatives, medical elders, NMA Chairman, Chief Medical Director, ARD, distinguished faculty members, CUMSA, dignitaries present, honored guests, proud parents and families, and most importantly, my fellow graduating doctors. It is both an incredible honor and a humbling privilege to stand before you today as valedictorian of this graduating class. As I reflected on what I wanted to say today, my mind did not first go to grades, awards, examination, or even medical school. Instead, it went back 20 years. It was about 6 p.m. on a Wednesday evening in 2006. My brother, sister, and I were seated on small stools facing our grandmother as she sat comfortably on the couch feeding us Gary and okra soup. Now I must confess, I hated Gary, but it was grandma feeding it, so refusing was not really an option. Suddenly, as she stretched out her hand to feed me, she froze. Mama, I called. There was no response. Her eyes stared blankly ahead. Her face slowly turned to one side. I remember trying to move her hand into a resting position and taking the food from her grasp. Then I did the only thing a frightened child could think to do. I ran outside screaming for help. Thankfully, our neighbors came. That evening changed my life forever. In the years that followed, I watched my grandmother battle illness. I heard words I did not fully understand at the time. Stroke, diabetes, rehabilitation. I watched hospital admissions become routine. I watched her return home in a wheelchair. I witnessed the emotional, financial, spiritual, and physical burden that chronic illness places not only on patients, but on entire families. I loved my grandmother deeply. She made me feel seen. She believed in me long before I learned to believe in myself. And as I watched her journey unfold, I made a promise to myself. One day, I would be in a position to help families like ours understand what was happening, navigate uncertainty, and find hope even in difficult circumstances. That promise is one of the reasons I stand here today. What I did not know then was that it would take a village to help me keep that promise. The journey, however, was not straightforward. Like many dreams worth pursuing, mine took the scenic route. There were years of study, other degrees, moments of uncertainty, and seasons where the destination seemed farther away than ever. Yet every detour taught me something valuable. Every setback developed resilience. Every challenge built perseverance. Eventually, I found my way back to medicine, and medicine did what medicine does best. It humbled me immediately. Many of us remember the red building. We remember the endless running around, the smell of formalin permanently etched into our memories. We remember histology slides that somehow all of them looked exactly the same. We remember the nerve we could not identify, no matter how long we stared at it. At the time, it felt impossible, yet somehow we survived. Then came clinical postings. I still remember walking into my first cardiothoracic posting with my shiny white coat, my stethoscope hanging proudly around my neck, convinced I was finally ready. Professor Otuma quickly corrected that assumption. He asked us to list the symptoms of the various body systems in order we could not. Then he took us to a patient's bedside, exposed the abdomen, and asked us what we saw. One by one, we confidently reported seeing absolutely nothing. He laughed. "Look again," he said. Suddenly there it was, a pulsating abdominal mass that had apparently been there the entire time. It was not hidden, we were simply too inexperienced to see it. Today, every one of us will see the mass the first time we look. We survived the laboratory village. We survived pharmacology. Then we entered pediatrics, where Professor Ekanem gave us a title that many of us will never forget. He fondly referred to us as Ikapokovs. Now, for those who may not understand the term, it was his affectionate way of reminding us that we knew absolutely nothing. And to be fair, he was probably right. But as we learned, grew, and somehow managed to pass pediatrics, he would tell us that we had finally coped. We had finally gained some knowledge. We had finally started becoming doctors. At about the same time, many of us were spending sleepless nights in obstetrics and gynecology, moving from call duty to ward rounds and hoping not to miss a delivery. It often felt like the levels of a video game. Just when you thought you had completed one challenge, another appeared waiting for you. Yet somehow, posting after posting, examination after examination, we advanced. And today, I think Professor Ekanem would agree that this class has finally coped. But if I am honest, some of the hardest battles were not academic. For many of us, COVID-19 and industrial actions altered timelines we had carefully planned. 2023 was supposed to be our year of graduation. Instead, the finish line kept moving. There were moments many of us felt exhausted, discouraged, and left behind. There were moments where we wondered, did I make the right decision? Am I too far behind? Should I keep going? As we celebrate today, it's important to acknowledge that not everyone who began this journey was with us is seated in this hall. Some colleagues were unable to continue because of illness, personal circumstances, or challenges that altered the course of their journeys. And today, we especially remember our dear colleague, Mr. Ralph. Mr. Ralph shared this journey with us, but did not live to see this day. Though he's no longer physically present, his memory remains a part of our class story. We remember his friendship, his presence, the place he occupied among us. To his wife, children, loved ones, and to the families of every colleague whose path diverged from ours, we honor them today. Their stories are woven into ours. Their absence reminds us never to take moments like this for granted, and never to forget what a privilege it is to stand here today. As we celebrate today, it's impossible not to reflect on the many people who helped shape us. We're taught by extraordinary teachers. Teachers who changed us. Teachers who challenged us. Teachers who encouraged us. Teachers who refused to allow us to settle for mediocrity. We will always remember Professor Njoku and his famous mechanical corrections. Those memorable knocks on the head that somehow helped us remember the same lesson he had already taught us several times before. There are countless other stories we could tell about the teachers who shaped our journey. Unfortunately, time will not permit us to mention everyone individually. But to every lecturer, consultant, senior resident, house officer who patiently shared knowledge, corrected mistakes, challenged our thinking, and guided us in the right direction, thank you. To the nurses who taught us practical wisdom beyond textbooks, to the laboratory scientists who worked alongside us and reminded us that excellent patient care is always a team effort, to the ward attendants, porters, administrative staff, cleaners, and countless others whose work often go unnoticed but is essential to the functioning of our hospitals, thank you. And most importantly, to our patients, thank you for your patience. Thank you for allowing inexperienced students to ask one more question, perform one more examination, and learn one more lesson, even in moments of your discomfort and vulnerability. Your generosity helped shape the doctor standing before you today. We are better because of you, and we are here because of you. The answer to my moments of doubt did not come from within me alone. It came from the people around me. My dad, the Ovi of Ogara, present here today. My amazing mother, the Queen of Ogara. My wonderful sister, Barrister Oyoma. My brothers, Voki and Miracle, encouraged, supported, provided, and prayed for me when I wanted to quit, because I did. My dear attempt made sure I was cared for when I barely had the energy to care for myself. Professor Udonwan and family, who opened their homes to me when I needed a place to stay. My consultant, Dr. Akaba, who became a mentor and believed I could sell in anything I put my mind to. And to my wonderful teammates, the best study group ever, Nigerina, Ediomo, Pelumi, Maggie, Dara, Cynthia, Sharon, and Wumi, who supported me through difficult days while carrying burdens of their own. Friends who were miles away continued to send messages, offer support, and extend grace, even when I missed important milestones in their lives because I was constantly in school. They reminded me of something I have come to believe deeply. None of us gets here alone. Behind every doctor seated today is a community. A parent who sacrificed, a sibling who encouraged, a spouse who waited, a friend who listened, a lecturer who believed, a classmate who shared notes. Thank you, class. A mentor who opened the door, a neighbor who answered a desperate cry for help. Community carried me from that frightened little girl standing outside our house calling for help. Community carried me through several degrees. Community carried me through medical school. Community helped transform a childhood's promise into today's reality. And community is what brought every one of us to this moment. So if my classmates remember only one thing from this speech, let it be this. Find your community. Find people with whom you share your joy, struggle, victories, fears, and dreams. And just as importantly, be that community for someone else. Because while dreams may begin with individuals, they are often fulfilled through the support of many hands and many hearts. To my fellow graduating doctors, today marks the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. The road ahead will not always be easy. There will be moments when we doubt ourselves. There will be patients whose stories stay with us forever. There will be obstacles we cannot yet imagine. But I hope my story reminds someone here or someone listening that dreams remain possible even when the journey takes longer than expected. Do not allow delays to define you. Do not allow setbacks to convince you to quit. And do not be afraid of dreams that seem bigger than your current circumstances. Keep going. One day you may look back and realize that every detour, challenge, disappointment, obstacle was quietly preparing you for the very place you were meant to be. To the federal government of Nigeria, the government of Cross River State, the good people of Calabar, University of Calabar, thank you for providing an environment in which our training and growth were possible. For many of us, this city became more than a place of study, it became home. To our parents, families, faculty members, mentors, and loved ones, thank you for carrying us when we could not carry ourselves. Your sacrifices are reflected in every doctor seated before you today. And finally, to my grandmother, Mama, thank you for believing in me. Thank you for making me feel seen. Thank you for inspiring a dream that outlives your earthly presence. I was not there to hold your hand when you took your final breath, and that will always be something I carry with me. But I take comfort in knowing that because of you, I now have the privilege of holding the hands of others through some of the most difficult moments of their lives. This moment is in many ways because of you. Congratulations, class of 2023. May have been scheduled to graduate in 2023, but after every delay, strike, setback, sleepless nights, examination, and obstacle placed in our path, we made it. 3 years later than planned, but right on time for the stories we were meant to tell. And just as community carried us to this moment, may we now go forward and become that source of strength, hope, and healing for others. We did it, class. Thank you, and God bless you all.